Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the America's capital. No, we're not. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody to our program today. We've got a lot of things we want to talk about today, and I ask all of you to put your seat belts on, put your tray tables in the upright post position, and get ready for takeoff. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. I hope we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. The first thing I want to talk about is the Pope. What happened with the Pope? The last days of the Pope. I've got a Fox News program here to consider. I want you all to take a look at.
Jonathan Morris joins me now. Jonathan, it is remarkable that this Pope passed away a day after Easter, a day where he was able to give the traditional Easter blessing from the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica. He rode around in the Pope-mobile, which was the first time he was able to do that since his hospitalization, and met with Vice President J.D. Vance. It's almost like he was driven to take part in this last Easter Sunday before leaving this world to be with the Lord.
Carly, it so reminds me of the weeks, the days leading up to the death of John Paul II. We'll remember, so many people remember John Paul II, a beloved Pope. I think Catholics, Protestants, evangelicals, all recognized in John Paul II a great leader. And he was in the hospital on 2 long stints leading up to his eventual death. But he left the hospital, he came back to the Vatican, and the world watched his last days. And he really taught us that it's okay to be sick. It's okay to get old. It's okay because, especially according to the belief of Christians around the world, it's just a transition into a new life. Pope Francis worked very hard to get out of the hospital. He wanted to get out of the hospital. The doctors have said that 2 times he was in a life-threatening moment, and they were able to revive him. Wow. He made it back to the Vatican, and he broke all doctors' orders, whether that's a good thing or bad thing. He broke the doctor's orders. They said 2 months of convalescence, stay away from people. We're watching him in the Pope-mobile. This happened just yesterday, in which he went through St. Peter's Square, greeted the faithful. Imagine hours later, he met his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and he met with prisoners, which it was very important for him to do on the week leading up to Easter Sunday, Holy Week. And to hear that he was ordered to stay away from people, that's not in his DNA as Pope. He's somebody who wants to bless the sinners and anoint the sick, which is what he did to his final days. And there are time-honored traditions that take place after a pope's passing. So what will take place in the days and weeks ahead that will see Pope Francis through his funeral and the selection of a new pope as well?
Right now, the Holy See, the Vatican, the Catholic Church is following a very strict protocol. The Camerlengo made the announcement of the death of Pope Francis. That happened earlier this morning. Then the Camerlengo goes over to the papal apartments, which he was not living in the palatial papal apartments, but rather he was living in a very simple little hostel,
and he
Santa
chose
Marta.
that when he became the Pope.
That's right. And so he was living basically in a little hotel with lots of other people, but he did have his own room and his own apartment. So the Camerlengo goes and seals it. It's very old-fashioned.
What is the Camerlengo?
He's the one who now takes over some of the executor responsibilities, in which he makes sure that the papers of the Pope in his apartment cannot be touched. He makes sure that nobody can get in and take photographs of him in a way that would be disrespectful. And together with the College of Cardinals, which means all of the cardinals, many of whom Pope Francis himself elected, they will be in charge of running the day-to-day operations of the church. But no big decisions are allowed. Right now, no big decisions. The Secretary of State is not running the Catholic Church. He has to step down from his regular duties. And it's a very strict protocol to make sure that nobody in this period, without anybody in the seat of Peter, is able to make decisions that will significantly affect the Catholic Church or the other many activities that the Catholic Church is involved in throughout the world.
And Pope Francis reached his position in a unique way, because usually it takes the passing of a pope to elect a new one. It was the resignation of Pope Benedict XVI that led to Pope Francis being selected. Usually you don't have two living popes at the same time, but many will remember that major news story when that took place over a decade ago.
I remember it very well. I was getting ready to go on vacation, and I got the phone call from Fox. Is it possible? Is it true that Pope Benedict has resigned? I said, I can't imagine, but yet, you know what? He did write about that. Pope Benedict XVI saying that he would be willing to step aside, something that hadn't happened in centuries, if it came to that. Many people asked themselves, and the media asked out loud, will Pope Francis also step down as he got very sick? Pope Francis said he would be willing if he thought that that was the best thing, but obviously he wanted to stay into the end, and I'm so glad that he did. Honestly, it's such, listen, a lot of our viewers have had different opinions of, how Pope Francis ran the church, right? He was definitely a more progressive pope. The Catholic Church had conservative leadership for decades leading up to this. Pope Francis was working very hard to make some significant changes, but you know what the biggest lesson he gave us was the simplicity of life, his humility. And yes, he had different opinions than a lot of us on a lot of things, but let's be very clear. Pope Francis lived a genuine life of humility and of service, and nobody can take that away from him.
You know, Jonathan, I'm glad you said that, because like we had just reported, the Vice President, J.D. Vance, met with Pope Francis yesterday. And the Vatican said after that meeting, an exchange of opinions took place concerning migrants, refugees, and prisoners. And we can all read between the lines as to what that means. Political ideologies were different between Pope Francis and the Vice President. Pope Francis has been seen as a more progressive pope. So what would you say to Christians who are conservative that are struggling with that in this moment?
It's so good that we have somebody in the world saying, take care of the poor, take care of the immigrant, take care of the prisoners, and just leaving it at principles that's basically the gospel. Right? The Beatitudes are very clear. You know, blessed are the humble, blessed are the simple, et cetera, right? Blessed are those who mourn. And Pope Francis laid out those principles, and he fought for those principles, but it's up to government officials, including J.D. Vance, including President Trump, to then make policy, and that's very difficult. And the Catholic Church allows for difference of opinions of how to apply principles, eternal principles, into policy. And listen, so I'm glad that there was a frank exchange, and I'm glad that J.D. Vance said what he thought. And J.D. Vance became a Catholic not too long ago, in 2019. He converted to Catholicism, and so he has great respect for Pope Francis. Many people were saying, look, the Pope is dissing him by not receiving him into audience. And it was actually just yesterday during Easter service that Pope Francis invited him to have this meeting. Pretty amazing.
It truly is, yeah. Jonathan, thank you so much for being with us this morning as you help us digest this.
That's what happened yesterday with J.D. Vance and the Pope. I want to show you that because there was a lot of controversy yesterday about what happened in the Vatican with Vice President Vance and Pope Francis. I want to clear it up. Yes, there were an exchange of ideas. There were no arguments. Vice President Vance did not kill Pope Francis, as I said. Okay? He had a stroke. Part of his heart quit pumping blood to his brain, which caused a massive stroke and hemorrhage, and he passed away. That's what happened. Now, I could show him lying in state in the Vatican, but I've decided not to do that. Okay? I didn't think that was appropriate to show the Pope's body here on our program. I don't think it's appropriate now. I don't think it will be appropriate ever. But I wanted to show you what happened at the Vatican yesterday when Vice President Vance met with the Pope just prior to his death. The Pope also, like it showed, was able to get in his Pope mobile and travel around the Vatican and meet with the people out there. That was the last thing he wanted to do. He was very much a people's Pope. He wanted to be around the people, and his last hours were spent doing just that. Pope Francis dead at age 88 as of yesterday morning. Thank you for your service, sir. God bless you now. Now, we have a lot of earthquakes that have happened. I want to go over earthquakes now. Okay? First off, a 6.2 magnitude earthquake. A 6.2 magnitude earthquake in Tulad, Indonesia. Tulad, Indonesia. Guys, there are a lot of earthquakes there in Indonesia today. A lot. I'm telling you, a lot. This was not the only earthquake in Indonesia today. Another one, south of Java right here. A 5.7 earthquake hit here, just off the coast. Both of those earthquakes were off the coast of the island. Neither one of those earthquakes did massive damage to anything. Both earthquakes happened in an open sea. The ocean waters around those earthquakes absorbed the shock waves of those quakes. Okay, that's what happened. Then, over here, another 5.7 earthquake hit in Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea. Okay, this was a very large earthquake, just like the one in Tulad, Indonesia. This again was off the coast of Papua New Guinea. Okay, the ocean waters here near the Strait of the Salud Strait here absorbed the shock waves of this quake. Again, there are a lot of earthquakes here in Indonesia. And I'm going to bring up my device here and show you all the earthquakes all around Indonesia today. It's amazing what has happened. It truly is amazing to see what has happened today all over Indonesia. Now, while the USGS does not show everything, they are never going to show everything. They're not ever going to show anything, basically. But I want to show you this. Look at this. Look at the earthquakes all around Indonesia and over into Myanmar today. Look at all those earthquakes. Now there's one other earthquake, well actually three earthquakes I want to show you here. Over on the northwestern shore of Australia, Gingara, Australia. This is a 2.6 earthquake here. 2.6 earthquake here. Then over in southern Australia, southwestern Australia, near Burra, Australia here. This is a 1.93. Here's a 1.93 earthquake here. Now, folks, we had a 6.0 earthquake hit here just about 4 years ago. 6.0 earthquake hit here 4 years ago, causing some damage here. Okay? Now, the other earthquake I want to show you is very interesting. A very, very interesting quake. This is a 5.1 over here, just northwest of Sydney, Australia. Just northwest of Sydney, Australia. This is a 5.1 earthquake. A 5.1 earthquake. Now, guys, I'm going to zoom into it on my device and show you where this earthquake hit. It was in the mountainous region of southern Australia here. Okay? This mountainous region is a volcanic area. It's a volcanic area, guys. I've been studying this for a very long time. I've been watching this. This area is full of molten magma beneath the surface. That is one of the reasons that this earthquake hit. Just one of the reasons that this earthquake is hit. Now, I want to try to show you one other image here, if it will let me do this. Now, this is the area here. Okay? You see where that orange dot is here? That's where the earthquake hit. Look what is just northeast of there. There are a bunch of open areas where they've been mining. There's quarries there. Now, this earthquake had nothing to do with quarries at all. This earthquake had nothing to do with quarries at all. Okay? But it was, I believe, was magmatic in origin. A large earthquake is hit over here in southwestern Australia, right here in the mountainous regions of Australia. Okay? That's there. Okay? Does anybody have any questions about earthquakes? I'm going to show you the USGS map now, and we can talk more about earthquakes here. Now, yes, folks, this is Imperial Valley. This is over around Calipatria today in the Imperial Valley. We're going to talk more about this a little bit later, and I'll give you a tour of Southern California at that time. I want to go back over here, okay? This is Ponta Gaitan, Philippines. Ponta Gaitan, Philippines, out in the open ocean of the South Pacific. This is also a 6.2 earthquake. A 6.2 earthquake. Again, the ocean waters of the Pacific Ocean absorbed the shock waves of this quake. Another very strong 6.2 earthquake hit here near Ponta Gaitan, Philippines. 269 kilometers southeast of Ponta Gaitan, Philippines. Okay, that happened there. Over here again, Fak, Indonesia here, a large 5.0 earthquake here. Over here, this is Timor-Leste. This is a 4.4 earthquake here. Notice that Tulud, Indonesia earthquake is not here. They've taken it down. They've already taken it down. Why did they take it down? I have no idea. Because that earthquake in Tulud, Indonesia happened just before this earthquake here, a 5.7 here off the coast of Java, Indonesia here in the Indian Ocean. Okay? There are a lot of earthquakes here. Again, as I showed you, the USGS is not showing you all the earthquakes at all. They're not willing to show us hardly anything at all. There are a ton of earthquakes there. There are a ton of earthquakes. I'm going to count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 21, 22, 24, 26, 26, 28, 30 earthquakes. 30 earthquakes today in Indonesia. Let me bring up the webcam again so I can show you this. 30 earthquakes here in Indonesia today. 30 of them. Usually we have 14 to 19 earthquakes here in Indonesia. Today we have 30. Again, what is USGS showing us? Almost nothing. They're showing us 4 earthquakes and they're 30. It's unreal. Now, Firefly is talking about a 3.0 earthquake took place in southeastern Ohio. I will talk about that. I promise you we will talk about that. Hang in here with me for a minute, okay? Hang in here with me. Now, I want to show you some other earthquakes here momentarily before we get into everything going on around the globe and over here in the United States, okay? I show you those 3 earthquakes in Australia. USGS is only showing 1 over in southeastern Australia. Unreal. Unreal. Vanuatu. This is a 5.7 earthquake in Vanuatu. Right there. Okay? This is 95 kilometers north-northwest of Sula, Vanuatu. There was a 7.4 earthquake here just about 6 months ago. This is an aftershock of that. This is a 5.7 earthquake. This is also 200 kilometers deep. This is still a fairly shallow earthquake. 200 kilometers deep. A deep earthquake is 550 to 700 kilometers deep. We've seen that happen. Those are deep earthquakes. A moderately deep earthquake would be about 400 kilometers deep. Okay, let's go over to Tonga. Pangai, Tonga again. This is 121 miles. I'm sorry, not miles, 121 kilometers southeast of Pangai Tonga. This is another large 5.1 earthquake. Large 5.1 earthquake. Guys, this area of the South Pacific has gotten inundated with large, very strong sixes here. Very strong sixes and large 5.0s to 5.7s. Why is that? Because, folks, we've had a huge solar sunspot. Huge sunspot on the sun, about 40 times the size of the Earth. 40 times the size of the Earth, Earth facing. It has launched solar flares, and while they are small solar flares, C and M class flares, they launched enough flares to cause these kinds of earthquakes. Solar radiation penetrating our atmosphere and heating up the surface of the Earth as well as the center of the Earth as well. Okay? What happens when it heats up the surface? The tectonic plates and the earthquake faults are held in place by friction. The faults and the tectonic plates are held together by friction. There's a lot of gravel, there's biological material, there's sand and earth. All that stuff becomes like a greasy, oily substance. And when the plates are right, when the tectonic plates and the earthquake faults are right, all of a sudden we have a slip. We have a slip like this. The faults move and the plates move just like this. The plates move just like this. There are 7 different tectonic plates down here in Southeast Asia. 7 different tectonic plates in Southeast Asia. Now, you see all these earthquakes here. Again, there are 30 earthquakes here in Indonesia. What's happening over in Myanmar? Look at this. USGS is not showing any earthquakes here around Myanmar. Let me talk about these earthquakes here. Up to the north. Okay? This is a 3.3 earthquake here. 3.3 earthquake there. Northwest of there, a 4.0. 4.0 moderate quake there. Let's go south. Okay? Let's go south over here to the swarm. This is a 4.2 moderate earthquake there. From there, we go to a 1.70. From that 1.70, we go to a 2.4. Then south of there, we have a 2.0, a 2.0, a 1.8 out to the east. Then we go straight south down here to a 1.2. These earthquakes I just showed you right here are 4s. These are 4-pointers here. Okay, let's go over here to the west a little bit. Okay, over here we have a 2.1, 2.1, 2.9, 2.3, and just barely to the north here we have a 2.9 again here. 2.9 earthquake right here. These are over around Myanmar. Around Myanmar. Okay? USGS not showing anything like that. Why not? You don't want my answer. Believe me, you don't want my answer. Western India. Western India. Here's another 3.9, 4.0 earthquake there. Going north into Afghanistan, Tajikistan, this area. Okay? This is a 3.0 earthquake here. 3.0 earthquake here. Also here a 4.2, a 3.0, a 3.9, and a 4.0 in Afghanistan here. Why do we have earthquakes here in Afghanistan? Okay? Why do we have earthquakes there? 5 earthquakes there in Afghanistan. Because all of that energy from Myanmar has moved to the north and east. Okay? All that energy has moved from here in Myanmar all the way up here into the Himalaya Mountains and all the way over here into Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, and Afghanistan right here. This is the Craton Edge here. This is the Craton Edge here, Himalaya Mountains. That's why these earthquakes hit. This one down here in Western India, that energy's come down this fault here, and that's why we have this earthquake in Western India today. Okay? That's what happened. Earthquake faults follow the Craton Edge. Earthquakes follow the Craton Edge. Over in Iran-Iraq border area, this is the 3.2 earthquake here. 3.2 earthquake here. Over in the Red Sea here, in the Red Sea, this is a 4.3 earthquake near Saudi Arabia here. Saudi Arabia right there in the Red Sea. Okay? Then we come up here to the northern border of northwestern Iran and Syria. We have a 3.0 and a 1.3 earthquake here. Over in the Syria-Turkey border region, the Syria-Turkey border region, look at the earthquakes here. We have about 17 earthquakes here in the Turkey-Syria border region. See that one that says 10 plus? All those other earthquakes there, total of 5 right there. Let's open that 10 plus earthquake here. We have a total of 18 earthquakes here. Total of 18 earthquakes. All of these earthquakes here in this area are a result of the 9.0, 10.0 earthquake that we had here just about 2 years ago. February 3rd, 2 years ago, we had a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake here. And as a result of that, we have all these quakes here. We have a 1.5, 1.4, 1.0, 1.7, 0.6, 0.7, 3.2, 3.2 right there as well. Further south here, we have another 1.3, 1.0, 1.5. Further to the south, we have a 1.0 right there. Further to the south, 1.6, 1.8, 2.2 earthquake right there. 1.3, 1.3, and this is also a 1.3 here in eastern Turkey. 18 earthquakes here in the Turkey-Syria border region. As a result of the 9.0, 10.0 earthquake that happened here just over 2 years ago, February 3rd, 2023. That's what happened right in this area. It left also 5,000 people dead, over 5,000 people injured. It also opened up a great big huge 14-mile long fissure that was 8 stories deep. An 8-story building could have fit in that fissure. That's what happens when you have one of these major earthquakes. This is exactly what we talked about up in the Cascadia subduction zone yesterday. And now I believe we have moved into a large, massive mega thrust earthquake that may happen as early as 2 years from now. 2 years from now. Okay? I want to show you that because that is exactly what is going to happen. Over in central Turkey, we have a handful of earthquakes here in central Turkey and over in northern Turkey. Over in western Turkey, okay, we have a 1.2, 1.5, and also 1.4 here in western Turkey area. Okay, then over in the Dokanese Islands, we keep talking to you about the Dokanese Islands. I want to show you this. This is important. The northern Dokanese Islands here, we have a 1.6 tremor here. 1.6 tremor. Now we go south. We go south over here to Amorgos area and Tyra area. Amorgos area is this leaf-shaped island right there. That's the island of Amorgos. Okay? Then we come down here to where this earthquake swarm is right here. Okay? Right there. We have a 1.8 tremor. We have a 1.9 tremor. We have another 1.8, 3.6. 3.6 earthquake right there. Just barely west of there is another 1.9 and another 2.0 earthquake here. Now, why are we having earthquakes here? Can anybody remember what I've told you about these earthquakes here? Right here in this area? Why are we having earthquakes here? Because of magma beneath the surface. Magma down here in the crust of the earth beneath this water here, beneath the Aegean Sea. This magma is causing those earthquakes. It's hammering away at the bedrock. Hammering away at the bedrock here, trying to hammer its way up until it breaches the surface and causes a volcanic eruption. That's what's caused all these islands here. It may cause another island, or it could erupt here on one of these islands here. Santorini is this island down here to the south. Amorgos Island is this leaf-shaped island right here. Okay, we have all these earthquakes here, a total of 7 earthquakes here in the southern Aegean Sea here. Okay, more earthquakes over here in Greece here. Northern Greece especially here. Look at this. We hardly have any earthquakes at all in southern Greece. All the earthquakes here around the sea here. Okay, around the sea. Now, I want to point out some areas here. We have 2 earthquakes here around Patras. This is an island here in the Aegean Sea that's named after the Apostle Peter. Patras, Greece. This is a 1.5 tremor. Right next to it is a 0.9 microquake. Okay? This area typically has tremors. Up to the northwest is a 0.9. 0.9. Over to the east, 0.8, 0.6, 0.5, 0 or 1.60, 0.8 here in the Aegean Sea area here. Okay, that's what's going on here. Southern Greece to the south, south of Patras, 11 miles south-southeast of Patras. This is another 1.4 tremor. Southeast of there is a 1.0. 1.0. Now I'm going to open this up so you can see exactly what we're talking about. We have no earthquakes at all here in southern Greece. This is Athens, Greece down here. We have no other earthquakes anywhere around this area. Okay, none. Not one. However, let's move over here to Italy. Okay, this is a little bit different story. Okay, first off, let's start over here with Sicily. This is a 0.8 microquake here, northern Sicily. Just south of Sicily and Italy in the Ionian Sea, we have a 2.8 minor earthquake here, 2.8. Over in the toe of the boot of Italy, this is Calabria, Italy, a 0.7 microquake here. Now let's move over here to the islands north of southern Italy and Sicily. Two major volcanoes here. 2 major volcanoes. Okay. This volcano right here is Etna. Mount Etna is erupting, throwing great big huge lava bombs down the side of the volcano. Mount Etna is moving, throwing great big huge lava bombs down the side of the volcano. Stromboli volcano is down here to the south. It's also erupting, but it's only throwing lava out the sides of the volcano. Both volcanoes are erupting at present time. Okay, now let's go over here to the north. Okay, over here to southwestern Italy here. This is a 2.50 earthquake. This is a lone 2.5 minor earthquake here. Why are we having earthquakes here again? Why are we having earthquakes here? Because we have a volcano right there that's trying to erupt. Magma beneath the surface is pushing its way through bedrock, fracturing rock in its path, causing earthquakes, and it's working its way towards an eruption. This is the lone earthquake here today. This is the lone earthquake here today. Okay, that's what's happening there. Let's go north, off the coast of Puglia, Italy. This is a 1.8 tremor here. 1.8 tremor here out in the water here, just off the coast of southern Italy here. Let's go north. I keep telling you about those swarms of earthquakes we're having over here on the northeastern side of Italy here, right here in the central part of Italy. Okay, these are mostly microquakes and tremors. 0.5 Marsh, Italy. The 0.5 minor microquake here. Okay, Marsh, Italy. South of there, we have another 0.8, a 1.4 Umbria, Italy. 1.4 Umbria, Italy. South of there, 1.5, 0.4, 1.0, and a 0.9. Okay, we've had as much as 20 to 24 earthquakes in this area. Now it's just a number of like, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 7 earthquakes here today. 7 earthquakes here today. We've had as many as 20, 25 earthquakes here in the past. Okay, let's go to northern Italy here. Emilia Romagna, Italy. We have a minor 2.0 earthquake there. Okay, then we go over here into the Alps. The Alps, South Tyrol, Italy. A 0.9 microquake here. Let's go over to the west a little bit. Okay, Switzerland. Roswald, Switzerland, a 1.7 and a 1.6 tremor there. Go over further north into Switzerland, we have a 1.3 tremor right there. Okay, now we go over towards Spain. This is not at the border area of Spain, however. This is a 3.8 earthquake near Saint Pardoux la Riviera Nouvelle, Aquitaine, France. This is a 3.8 earthquake right here. Now the border area of Spain and France is right here. This is the border area. This is where I've shown you where we've had 1.7, 1.8, 2.0 earthquakes here in the border area. Today we don't have any. Nothing. Spain right there. 1 earthquake. 1 small earthquake. Okay, this is a 1.6 tremor here. 1.6 tremor here. This is unusual to only have 1 earthquake. Usually we have 2 or 3 here in southern Spain. Okay, let's go down to the Canary Islands. Okay, this is a 1.9 tremor here, out here in the Canary Islands, in the water. Nowhere near land, a 1.90 tremor here. That's all that's happened here in the Canary Islands. Let's go north here. I want to show you this. Neither USGS or the EMSC map that I've shown you here are showing any earthquakes over here in Iceland. There are some minor tremors here in Iceland. As I said, I believe that we may have an eruption coming up here in the northern Reykjanes Peninsula here in Iceland. I believe we're going to have another eruption here in northern Reykjanes Peninsula in Iceland. Richard Smith says a 2.0 earthquake in northern Italy with a depth of 10 kilometers. Not surprising me. Not surprising at all. I want to go over to southern Sweden. We've been talking about earthquakes in southern Norway and southern Sweden and even upwards towards Stockholm. This is near Jönköping, Sweden. This is a 1.4 tremor here in Sweden. We never saw these when I used to live there. We never saw any tremors. We never saw any earthquakes in Norway or Sweden at all. Here's Jönköping, just a minor tremor here. Unreal. Let's go over to to the North American continent. Actually, before that, let's go over here into Chile, Argentine area. Okay, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 earthquakes here in Chile. All these are over here in central Chile, just north of Antofagasta, or I'm sorry, just south of Antofagasta. Okay, up here to the north. 4.0 earthquake here. 4.0 moderate earthquake there. To the south of there, we have a 3.3. South of there, we have a 3.8. Offshore, we have 2 earthquakes offshore, a 9.0 and a 1.0 earthquake here. Central Chile here. Over here on land, Coquimbo, Chile. This is another 4.0 earthquake here in Coquimbo, Chile. Okay, let's go over into the Andes Mountains area at the border area between Argentina and Chile. A 2.6, another 2.7 minor earthquakes there. Again, at the border area of Chile and Argentina. Over near the coastline, Valparaiso, Chile, we have a 2.8 and a 3.2 earthquake here. 2.8 and a 3.8 earthquake here in Valparaiso, Chile. That's what's going on there. Now, usually we have a bunch of earthquakes here in northern Sweden, northern Chile here, north of that earthquake border there. We have no earthquakes reported here at all. Okay, at all. We've had earthquakes over here in Peru here. There's no earthquakes reported in Peru. Let's go over here to Santander, Colombia. Santander, Colombia, we have a 2.5 earthquake there. Over into Venezuela, north of there. Venezuela, we have a 2.4 near Lara, Venezuela. Lara, Venezuela there. And further east here, near Sucre, Venezuela, we have a 2.8. 2.8. Now let's go over here into the Caribbean. Okay, U.S. Virgin Islands. A 3.2 earthquake in the U.S. Virgin Islands right there. South and west of there. This is a 2.2 earthquake here. 2.2 earthquake here in southwestern Puerto Rico. Southwestern Puerto Rico, 2.2 and a 1.97 here. These are aftershocks of 2 major earthquakes that happened here on December 26 and December 28, 2019. Man-made earthquakes then. 8.0 and 8.4 earthquake here, December 26 and December 28, 2019. We're still having aftershocks from that. We're still seeing aftershocks from that. These will continue. These will continue, I promise you. When we have a major earthquake such as that, we'll have aftershocks for many, many years. Now already it's close to 6 years now. Close to 6 years now. Unreal. Unreal. Over in Central America, Punta Arenas, Costa Rica. Punta Arenas, Costa Rica, we have a 3.2 here. We go north, over into Nicaragua, 2.2 and a 2.34 here in Nicaragua. We go north. Okay, now we're in Guatemala. We have a 2.73 in Guatemala. Okay, let's go north. Southern Oaxaca, Mexico. Southern Oaxaca, Mexico, we have a 4.0 moderate earthquake right there. 4.0 moderate earthquake there. Look at this. Look at this. This is a new one for me. This is a much new one for me. We've shown this happen before. We've shown this happen before. USGS never shows earthquakes here in southern Mexico, ever. Ever. Just a minute ago, I showed you this 4.0 earthquake here in southern Mexico right there. No other earthquakes at all here in southern Mexico. This is a new one. No other earthquakes at all in southern Mexico. Okay? Now, whether there are earthquakes or not, they're not showing them. The European agency is not showing these earthquakes. There may be earthquakes, but the USGS will not show them to us. The USPS will not show them to us. Now I want to show you something. Up here to the north. Okay? Puerto Vallarta here. We have that earthquake down here in southern Mexico here. Usually we have anywhere from 16 to 25 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. Neither the USPS or the EMSC are showing earthquakes here in southern Mexico. None. None. Now I'm going over here into Southern California. Southern California. Look what we're showing you here in the Imperial Valley. I'm going to talk about these earthquakes more in a few minutes. These earthquakes right here are near Calipatria. These here are out over the volcano, the Sultan Butte volcano right there. One earthquake right there. Let me show you that one here. This is near Westmoreland, California. Now, folks, I'm going to show you more than that. This is a 1.4 in Westmoreland, California. I'm going to show you a lot more than that. I'm going to show you a seismogram here from Westmoreland that's going to show you a lot of earthquakes and a bunch of tremors. Okay? A bunch of them. A bunch of them. Now, I'm going to drop down here to the south here, and I'm going to show you seismograms from this town right here. This is the town of Imperial. This is the town of Imperial in the Imperial Valley. I'm going to show you a seismogram of a bunch of earthquakes here. 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes here in the town of Imperial. Okay, a bunch of them. A bunch. Now I'm going to drop us down to El Centro. El Centro, California is right here. Okay, El Centro, California is probably a city of about 15 to 25,000 people now. It used to be about 10 to 15. Now it's about 20 to 25,000 people here in the town of El Centro. Now, what is northwest of El Centro? What do you think is northwest of El Centro? Right up here. This is El Centro Naval Air Station. El Centro Naval Air Station. I've done a bunch of training for U.S. military here at the Naval Air Station El Centro. Okay, that's there. One of the other places I'm going to talk about is Holtville, California. Holtville, California is right here. Holtville, California is where the Salton Sea Desert Research Station is here, and we have some earthquakes here we're going to show you today. A lot of earthquakes here. A lot of earthquakes here. There are over 400 some earthquakes here in the Imperial Valley by itself. Or 400 earthquakes here in the Imperial Valley by itself. That's not going to include all the earthquakes in San Diego County. All the earthquakes in San Diego County. Now I'm going to go over here, Ocotillo Wells, California. This is not actually Ocotillo Wells, but they're showing this on the map here. A 0.7 microquake here. This is actually in the top of the Chocolate Mountains here. The top of the Chocolate Mountains here. Now we have one other earthquake over here in the foothills at the east side of the Chocolate Mountains. This is a 1.99 2.0 earthquake right there. 1.99 2.0 earthquake right there. Out here just south of Salton City. South of Salton City, this is a 1.33 tremor here. 1.33 tremor here, Salton City. Now, folks, I had the Salton City seismogram here, but it wasn't showing anything at all. But here's a 1.33 tremor here, just south of Salton City. South of Salton City. Again, Salton City is a town up here on the northwestern side of the Salton Sea. That is Salton City right there. Okay, just to give you an idea. Let's go over here into San Diego County now. Julian. Now I have the seismogram from Julian, but it shows absolutely nothing. Shows absolutely nothing. Here we're showing a 0.26 microquake here in Julian. Just south of there, a 0.56 and a 0.24 microquakes here, Julian. Okay, it's not showing any other tremors or earthquakes here, just southwest of Julian here, with that large earthquake hit here last week. Large earthquake hit here last week, last Monday, and all we have here are microquakes here in Julian. That's it. That's it. Now I want to go over into Los Angeles. Okay, let's pull the map down here so you can see what I'm talking about. We are going to be talking about this in just a few minutes here. I'm actually going to show you seismograms, computer readouts from the seismographs. They're going to show you a lot more activity than they're showing here. This earthquake in red is just brand new. This is a 1.2 in Irwindale, California. Here in Los Angeles. Down here to the South Home Gardens. This earthquake just happened. This is a 1.7 tremor here. South here is a explosion supposedly at Lake Elsinore. A quarry blast here at Lake Elsinore. Let's zoom in here. I love to show you these things. Okay, this is actually north of Lake Elsinore. Lake Elsinore is right here. That's Lake Elsinore. This is a housing development here. A housing development, guys. This is not a quarry blast. This is a tremor here. This is a 1.4 tremor here in Lake Elsinore City. This is not a quarry blast at all. This is again another issue with USGS lying to us, lying through their teeth. They don't even bother researching what this earthquake is. It's in a housing development, not a quarry. 1.4 tremor here today. Unreal. It's unreal what they try to get away with. Unreal. That's what we show here that USGS wants us to tell you about. Okay? Right here. This is Corona, California here. Corona, California, this is a 1.2 tremor. Right next to it is 0.8 microquake. That's all they want to tell us about. Really? There are a lot more earthquakes here than Irwindale and Corona, California. I'm going to show you that to you now. Okay? Because this agency lies through their teeth. They don't want you to know what's going on. It's very apparent to me over the years that I found that USGS lies through their teeth because they don't want to admit exactly what's going on, because if they did, people would move away from this area. People would move far away from this area. Far, far away from this area. Now, I did get a report earlier today. This report was not good. Okay? It was not good at all. Let me try to bring this up for you. Hold on a second. Now, this report has to do with Los Angeles and Southern California. Los Angeles and Southern California. This is something you need to all know about. You need to know about it. And I'm very serious about it. I'm very, very serious about this. Okay? This area of Southern California is literally on fire when it comes to earthquakes. Earthquakes, guys. This is an earthquake hazard area, Southern California, specifically in Los Angeles and San Diego County. Los Angeles and San Diego County. Okay? I'm very serious. I could be more serious. This is a hazardous area. A hazardous area, guys. I'm not kidding. I wish I was. I wish I was. Scientists have put out that the San Andreas Fault, the San Jacinto Fault, the Elsinore Fault and the Newport Inglewood and the Rose Canyon Fault are about to give up. They're about to pop. They are about to pop. I'm not kidding. I wish I was. They're going to pop. And when they do, this is going to blow sky high. I'm telling you. This won't be pretty. This will not be pretty at all. I'm trying to find the report now so I can read it right from the report. There's a huge uptick in earthquakes. Huge uptick in earthquakes, guys. Is the megaquake imminent here in Southern California? Probably. Probably. Now, why am I saying that? As we saw in Southern California and San Diego County last week on the Elsinore Fault, a 5.1 earthquake there. I believe, as you probably also believe with me, since I should know what's happened, they're not being honest with us. They're not being honest with us whatsoever. Was that 5.1 earthquake in San Diego, East San Diego County near Julian a foreshock? Possibly. Possibly. Now, why do I say that? Can anybody tell me why I'm saying that? Can anybody tell me why I'm saying that? Let's move this fault zone down here. This great big huge red line here is the San Andreas Fault. South of there, we have the San Jacinto Fault right there. The San Jacinto Fault comes off of the San Andreas here, near Banning and Redlands, California. Comes all the way down here past Idlewild, goes down here, past Idlewild down here, and runs down here into North San Diego County. Runs down here in North San Diego County area. Let me take down our webcam here. I want you to see this. The San Jacinto Fault runs over here towards Palomar Mountain, nearly right there. Okay? All the way down here. Okay? This is Borrego Springs, the San Jacinto Fault. Up here, we told you about this earthquake right here that USGS tried to call a quarry blast. It wasn't. This is on the Elsinore Fault here. The Elsinore Fault runs over here into LA, runs all the way up here into Los Angeles. Then it comes all the way down here. Lake Elsinore, down here in North San Diego County, Fallbrook, Palomar Mountain, continue all the way down here in the Julian area here, into Julian, California. Folks, this is the Elsinore Fault. Now I've shown you three major earthquake faults, just like we have near Los Angeles. Los Angeles, it's a Calaveras to the east. Over there, just on the eastern shore of the San Francisco Bay, we have the Hayward. And on the western side of San Francisco Bay, we have the San Andreas. Down here, we have the San Andreas on the east side of the Salton Sea here. Just west there, the San Jacinto. And out here, down here, we have the Elsinore Fault here. But there's one other fault here as well. Before I show you the seismograms, I want to show you this. We go up here into LA, right up here. Right here we have the Newport Inglewood Fault coming here. The Newport Inglewood Fault comes out here into LA Harbor area. Down here it hooks up with what we call the Rose Canyon Fault. The Rose Canyon Fault runs off the coast here into North San Diego County. Runs into North San Diego County. North San Diego County, guys, it comes in here to North San Diego County, and what does it do? When it comes into North San Diego County, it comes over here and runs inland. Encinitas, California, up here in North San Diego County, right here, comes up here in Encinitas, and then runs inland along the coastline of North San Diego County. It runs south over here, down here into San Diego City, right here in San Diego City. At this point in time, the Rose Canyon Fault goes out here into San Diego Harbor. The Rose Canyon Fault is a fault similar to the Newport Inglewood Fault that is capable of a 7.5 earthquake. Capable of a 7.5 earthquake. The San Jacinto Fault and the Elsinore Fault, like we saw here last week with a 5.1. This Elsinore Fault is also capable of a 6.5 to 7.5 earthquake. The San Jacinto Fault to the east here is also capable of a 7.5 earthquake. And the San Andreas Fault out here to the east is also capable of a 7.5 earthquake. Now, while this is going to happen, we know for a fact it is. The San Andreas Fault here is primed and ready. Primed and ready. There's been a lot of seismic energy that is locked up here on the eastern side of Los Angeles here on the San Andreas Fault. At any point in time, this earthquake could pop. This earthquake could pop. Upwards of a 7.5 earthquake here. And when it does, all the other ancillary faults here in Los Angeles and all over Southern California are going to also pop. They're going to pop. There's going to be a massive earthquake here and massive damage as well. Lucy Jones has said up until about 2 years ago that the injuries are going to be about 1,700 people killed, over 5,000 people injured. 1,750 people killed, and 5,000 people injured here in Los Angeles, Southern California area. That's expected. That is what is expected. But again, they are not showing you all the earthquakes here. Let's do that right here and right now. Okay? Let's show you these earthquakes. This may blow your mind. It might do. We've talked a lot about this in the past, and guess what? We have the data now. We have all the data now. And I'm going to show that to you right now. Okay. First off, I want to talk about the coastal areas of Los Angeles. This is the Channel Islands here. This is the Channel Islands here. Again, the seismogram here at the top is from 5 a.m. this morning, and it goes until this afternoon. I pulled this this seismogram here just after 2 p.m. 2 p.m. is 1400 hours here on the left side at the bottom. That's 2 p.m. This area I pulled it just after 2:10 p.m. today. 2:10 p.m. today. Okay, you can see what we're seeing here. Okay, you can see it here. We're seeing mostly tremors, but we're also seeing at least 2 to 3 2.0 earthquakes, 2 to 3 2.0 earthquakes up here, right here on this green line here, right here in this green line. This is about 12:40, or actually 12:53 a.m. this morning on this green line. This appears to be a 2.3, 2.4 earthquake. 2.3, 2.4 earthquake. Further down here on this red line here. This red line here is 8 a.m. 8 a.m. Over here on this red line here, we're seeing here, just give me a second. This is 8:24 a.m. right here on this red line here. 8:24 a.m. here. Most of the rest of these are all tremors. Most of the rest of this is all tremor activity. Okay? This is typical of what we see here. Channel Islands. Yes, we've seen some minor earthquakes, a lot of minor earthquakes here in the past few weeks. We've also seen some 3.0 earthquakes here about 4 weeks ago on Channel Island, just off the coast of LA. Let's go over here to Del Amo. Right here. Look what we have here. Look what we have here. This is just north of Los Angeles. Look at all this. This is not harmonic tremors. This is actual earthquakes. Tremors and actual earthquakes that happen here north of Los Angeles. Notice that the white paper here. Now this is not really paper. This is a digital seismograph. They used to come out on paper, and that's why they still show the background of white. You hardly see anything here because there's so much activity. There's so much activity. They're not showing this on the USGS map. Heaven forbid. But like I said, this is mostly just tremors. I don't see any full-blown 2.0, 3.0 earthquake activity at all. These are just tremors here. Let's go over to Adelanto out in the desert, in the Mojave Desert. Look at this. These are tremors out here. Also, the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault. Adelanto, California here. Adelanto, California, out in the desert of Southern California. Now, I want to show you a picture of Adelanto, California right here. It's like this is like an oasis out here in the Southern California desert. This is what it looks like. But nothing but tremors here. Nothing but tremors at all. Okay, let's go out to Bakersfield. This is Cal State Bakersfield. Look what we have here. Again, nothing but tremors. Yes, we've had minor earthquakes and some small earthquakes out here in Bakersfield in recent weeks. This is tremor activity here. This is good sized tremor activity, however, okay? Also on the San Andreas Fault. On the San Andreas Fault. Then we go south over into Hemet. South into Hemet. This is San Jacinto Fault. This is the San Jacinto Fault at the San Jacinto campus over in Hemet, California. Again, what we're seeing here is mostly tremors. Mostly tremors. Down here towards the bottom here, after 12:45 p.m. this afternoon. Okay, on this green line. On this green line, this would be 12:54 p.m. today. 12:54 p.m. I believe this is probably 1.7 tremor here. And you can see the other tremor activity here before that. It actually started at 12:52 p.m. this afternoon. Tremor activity here. The tremor activity here lasted 2 minutes long. Okay, that's what we see here. Hemet, California. San Jacinto Fault. Now I come back out here to Idlewild on the San Andreas Fault here. Idlewild is over near the San Bernardino Mountains. Look at this. Look at this. Nothing but tremors. Tiny tremors. And there's also some microquakes here as well on the San Andreas Fault. Let's go over to the desert of Lancaster, California. Fox Airport out here on the San Andreas Fault. This is also nothing but tremor activity here. Tremor activity out here in Lancaster, California. Desert area just east of LA. Let's go over Rancho Mirage. Look at this. San Jacinto, or not San Jacinto, I'm sorry, the San Andreas Fault here. Look at this. This is all tremor activity here. Then after 8:30 this morning, at approximately 8:40 a.m. this morning, look at this curly Q line here. This happens when magma comes up and is noticed by the seismograph. Magma is up here in the upper crust of the earth here, near the San Andreas Fault here. Okay? We have a magma insertion here. The magma channel here near the San Andreas Fault, and this seismogram picked it up. Magma channel out here in the desert area near Rancho Mirage, California. The largest event happened here today is probably a 2.5, 2.6 earthquake that happened at approximately 2:09 or 2:08 p.m. this afternoon. 2:08 p.m. this afternoon here on the bottom black line. Okay? Probably close to 2.5, maybe even a 2.6 earthquake here this afternoon. All the rest of this is all tremor activity. All tremor activity. Let's keep going here. I want to go out to Victorville. One of our dear friends lives in Victorville, Isaiah's granny. A lot of you know her. She's been here in the chat before, and occasionally she'll pop in. Guess what? Tremor activity here, and also a minor earthquake. A minor earthquake. Just after 8 p.m. yesterday afternoon. The top line here is 5 p.m. yesterday afternoon. We come down here at 8 p.m., which is 2000 hours over here on the left-hand side. On the black line here, this appears to possibly be a 1.5 tremor, but I have a feeling it was a 2.0 earthquake, as well as this event here on the upper right here. This would be 1800 hours on the left-hand side, 6 p.m., but over here, this is 6:13 p.m. yesterday evening. On this green line above that, that might be a 2.0 earthquake there. 2.0 earthquake just after 5:53 p.m. yesterday evening. Okay? Again, this is in Victorville, California, on the San Andreas Fault. We have seen earthquakes here before, minor and small earthquakes here in Victorville during the last year. Okay? Now, I want to go over to Chino, out here east into the desert area of Chino, east of Los Angeles. Look at this. There's nothing but tremors here today. Yes, we've seen minor earthquakes here in Chino before, but today there's nothing but tremor activity here. The top line here is 5 a.m. this morning on the left-hand side. The bottom one here is just after 2 p.m. 2 p.m. this afternoon. Not much showing here. Okay? It has in the past, but this is just tremor activity here. Let's go over to Ellis, California, just north of Los Angeles. This is where we get into earthquake activity here in Los Angeles. Okay? The first activity is here on the right-hand side, on the upper right, on the blue line. Okay? This upper right area here, on the left-hand side on the blue line, it would be 6:30 p.m. Over here, this is be 6:14 p.m. 6:14 p.m., we have a 2.0 earthquake. Then that continues over here on the left-hand side on the green line. All of a sudden, guys, we have a 2.5, 2.7 earthquake here. It started over here after 6:44 p.m. last night. And over here on the green line, this is 6:45. Here we have at least a 2.5 to a 2.9 earthquake here. Seismic energy here lasts just over a minute. Just over a minute here. You see a lot of tremor activity here. A ton of tremor activity. However, over here on this blue line here, after 9:30 p.m., 9:30 a.m. this morning. The blue line here, you see 9 a.m. here on the left-hand side on the black line. Blue line below that is 9:30. We come over here to the center left-hand side here, where we are at 9:36 a.m. right here. 9:36 a.m. here, we have a 2.5, 2.7 earthquake. And that seismic sequence lasted just over a minute as well, about a minute and a half. Okay, below that on the green line, about 9:47 p.m. here, 9:47 a.m. Okay, again, we have a 2.5, 2.7 earthquake here on the green line. Okay, after 10 a.m. on the black line, 10:05 a.m. here on the black line, we have a 2.0 earthquake. There are numerous 2.0, 2.2 earthquakes here. I want to go over to the bottom red line on the right-hand side. The bottom red line here is 1:15 on the left-hand side. Over here, this is 1:13 p.m. here. In this case, this may have been a 3.0 earthquake here. A 3.0 earthquake here. This would be approximately 1:23 p.m. this afternoon. 1:23 p.m. this afternoon, a 3.0 earthquake here. Okay, it's just north of LA. Just north of LA, guys. Ellis, California. We've had earthquakes here before. A lot of earthquakes here before. Now I want to go over to eastern Los Angeles, Fontana, California. This is completely different. This is just west of the San Andreas Fault, right on the San Jacinto. Right on the San Jacinto Fault. Now, why am I being so persnickety about this? Look at what we're showing you here. From the very beginning here on the top line, on the black line, that would be 5 a.m. on the left-hand side. At about 5:04 a.m. this morning, we have at least a 2.2 earthquake here. 2.2 earthquake here. Over on the right-hand side, 5:14 a.m. on the right-hand side here. Again, a 2.4, 2.5 earthquake. 2.4, 2.5 earthquake here. You can see like seismic energy here throughout this diagram. Most of these are minor earthquakes. Like I said, most of these are minor earthquakes. However, all at 8 a.m. over on the left-hand side on the red line, 8:15. This appears to be a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake. 2.9, 3.0 earthquake. There may be a couple of these as well. On the bottom black line here, okay, this would be 2 p.m. on the left-hand side. This is 2:05 p.m. this afternoon, a 3.0 earthquake here. 3.0 small earthquake here in Fontana, California. Just about a minute later, a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake. I believe this is a 2.9 earthquake here, just a minute and a half after the first. Let's go over here to the right on the green line. Right here, this would be 13:56 p.m. this afternoon. 1:56 p.m. this afternoon. Guess what? 3.0 earthquake, and a minute and a quarter later, another 3.0 earthquake here. Okay, 1:56, 1:57 p.m. here. Okay, 3.0 earthquakes here in Fontana. This is not unusual activity. This has been happening here. This has been happening here a lot. A lot. Okay, let's show you some more here. I want to go over to Laguna, California on the the south side of Los Angeles along the coastline. South side of LA near the coastline. Look at this. Nothing but tremors here. But it appears to me that these tremors have actually increased. There's been a small tremor increase here in Laguna, California. Okay? Laguna, California, small tremor increase here. The number of tremors and the size of the tremors has increased. Yes, we now have 1.2, 1.3, maybe 1.4 tremors here. Okay? Laguna, California. Now I want to go to Long Beach. I'm going to show you two seismograms here in Long Beach. And I don't know where this first one is. This might be at the harbor. This might be at LA or Long Beach Harbor here. Over on the center here on the right, on the red line here. Top red line. Over on the left at 6:15. This would be approximately 6:07. No, not 6:07. This would be 6:22 this morning. 6:22 this morning on the red line here. Guys, we're having a 1.5, 1.6 tremor here. We see the same thing over on the right-hand side over here. Okay, on the right side, this would be 6:29 a.m. here. Over on the blue line on the left, 6:30 here. 6:30 here, we have a 2.2, 2.3 earthquake, minor earthquake. Look at the rest of this activity here. It just tremors. Just tremors here. Okay, Long Beach, California. This next one is over in the center of Long Beach. The center of Long Beach. This is going to be interesting. This is light height. Look at this. Tons and tons of tremors and minor earthquakes here. Tons and tons of tremors and minor earthquakes here. Minor earthquakes are 2.0 to 2.9. You can see it here. You can see it full on view. Okay? Minor earthquakes and minor tremors here. This is happening. We show you this to you every day. I'm not sorry, every day, every week. But every day this happens here in Long Beach. All the time. All the time. Okay? This is nothing new. Happens all the time. Long Beach is very, very, very busy. Very, very busy here. Okay? I'm not going to try to paint it any other way. This is a very busy area. It always has been. Los Angeles is a busy area. Los Angeles is a very, very busy area. Okay? We're seeing some minor tremors and minor 2.0 to 2.9 earthquakes here in the Long Beach area. Does anybody have any questions about Long Beach so far? Any questions here? Just a second, I'm sending a message to Rob 52. Just hold on a second. Just send a message to Rob52. I was going to try to send him a message that we were on the air right after I got on the air, but I forgot. I got busy. I'm so sorry. Rob52 is a very dear friend of mine. Very, very dear friend of mine. He's also a mod of this channel. Charlene Miles says, Los Angeles? Yes, it is. This is LA. This is Rob is here. I'm sorry, Rob is here. Thank you for being here, Rob. He's talking about a 1.7 tremor or 5 kilometers southeast of Home Gardens, California. Right, tremor. But this light hype in Long Beach, California. It's moving. It's always moving. We see this activity every day. Look up at the top here. Look up at the top on the right-hand side. Okay, this was a 2.8 earthquake here. A 2.8 earthquake that happened at about 10 minutes after 8. 8:10 this morning. These earthquakes are happening all day long. All day long here in Long Beach. Now, Mira Loma. Actually, before we go there, let me talk about Los Angeles City. Downtown Los Angeles. Downtown Los Angeles here. This is at the City County building of Los Angeles. The great big huge, probably 20-story building in downtown LA. This is the Emergency Operations Center in the basement of this county city building. All we're seeing here are just tiny minor earthquakes. I'm not saying minor earthquakes, I'm sorry, tiny tremors here. These are tiny tremors here in the downtown area of Los Angeles. Okay? Now, this area, that side around here is patrolled. I'm saying patrolled. It's run by Caltech and seismologists from the University of Los Angeles in California, and also in Los Angeles, I'm sorry, and also by people from USGS. That's why we keep seeing tremors here. I believe they've turned down this side ramp. Let's go over to Mira Loma. This is south and west of Fontana. South and west of Fontana. Here we've had minor earthquakes and small earthquakes here before. Now here we're only seeing tremor activity. I don't see any minor earthquakes, 2.0 otherwise. I believe this is nothing but tremors here. Last week we had earthquakes here in Mira Loma. This just south and west of Loma Linda, where the medical center is, in Los Angeles. Okay. Don Patoga is sending me question marks here in the chat. I hope I know we're still live here, and we still have our audio here. Richard Smith says, it looks like fancy 1970 shag carpet. Yeah. Unreal, guys. Unreal. Mira Loma, Los Angeles. Let's go over to Moore Park. North of Los Angeles is Moore Park. Look at this. Look at this. Yes, we have a lot of tremors here, but we're also seeing some minor earthquakes here. One of those earthquakes happened after 8:15 this morning. 8:15 this morning. Okay, I'm sorry, Demon Catman said Charlene had a question tied in here. Let's go back through the chat and see about the question. First, she said, well, Angela said, this is Los Angeles. Yes, thank you, Aubrey. I should be 5 by 5 here. Thank you so much for that. Charlene, could you repeat the question here? Oh, here it is. Charlene just put it here in the chat. Is there a primary fault under Los Angeles that spider fractures and a radial outlay to the east and the west? Yes. There are numerous faults, all kinds of faults here. All kinds of faults. One of the major faults here over in Los Angeles here is the Newport-Inglewood Fault. Newport-Inglewood Fault. That's that same fault I talked about earlier that's tied into the Rose Canyon Fault off the coast of LA that goes south along the coastline into San Diego County. Newport-Inglewood Fault. It's probably one of the biggest major faults here in the LA area. It's right under downtown Los Angeles. Newport-Inglewood Fault. It's a very dangerous fault, capable of a 7.5, maybe even larger earthquake than that. Thank you for that question, Charlene. We appreciate it. Charlene's also asking, are gas pressure increases, new faults may develop? That's a possibility. That's a possibility. Now, when we have earthquakes out here in LA, okay, usually before now, I've shown you Baldwin Hills. USGS and Caltech that runs these seismographs here have shut down the seismogram at Baldwin Hills. They shut it down. Baldwin Hills is an oil and gas refinery here in Los Angeles. Huge oil and gas pumping area here in LA. Baldwin Hills. They shut down the seismograph at Baldwin Hills. Now, why is that important to know? Because, folks, when they have had earthquakes here before, even minor earthquakes, minor and small earthquakes here in LA, when that happens, the oil pumping pressure decreases at the wells. When there are earthquakes here in LA, the oil and gas pumping pressures go way down. They don't want us to know what's going on. They don't want us to know what's going on here as Baldwin Hills or anywhere else. They're not showing everything. They're not showing everything. I believe they're also deleting information off the seismographs. What I'm showing you is everything I can possibly show you. But here, Moore Park, California, just north of Los Angeles. Look at this. Yes, we have earthquakes here. Okay? Just after 8:04, 8:05 a.m. This morning, at 8:19 a.m. this morning, we have a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. Okay? Now, we drop down here to the red line after 12 noon. 12 noon on the left-hand side, just below that is a red line. We drop down here to that red line here on the right-hand side. What do we have? What do we have? Another 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. Another 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. Okay? Unreal. That happened at 8:13, or not 8:13, I'm sorry, 12:13. No, that wouldn't be right either. 12:28 p.m. this afternoon. 12:28 p.m. this afternoon on the red line. 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. After that, I think the biggest earthquake we had was a 2.0. Otherwise, just tremors. Just tremors here. We've had earthquakes here in Moore Park all the time. We still have a lot of seismic activity here. Now, they may have tried to erase or delete information. They do that. They do that. But folks, Moore Park is very active still. A lot of seismic energy. A ton of seismic energy here. All right. Let's go to Pardee. Also, Pardee is north of LA. Here we have nothing but tremors. For the first time in a very long time here at Pardee, we have nothing but tremor activity. A lot of tremors. Now, each one of these earthquakes and tremors that we talked about here all over Los Angeles counts towards an earthquake. Counts towards an earthquake event. Already tonight. We've already shown you several hundred earthquake events here in the LA area. We're going to show you some more. But these are tremors here in Pardee, California. All right, let's go here down to Playa del Rey. Playa del Rey, Marina del Rey up here on the north coast of Los Angeles. Up at the top here, all of this is harmonic tremor. Harmonic tremor. Now, I don't know why it's harmonic tremor here. I have no idea. I have no idea. This happened last night at 5 p.m. last night and continued until 11 p.m. last night. Then it gets to be nothing but tremor activity after that. But harmonic tremors up here around Playa del Rey, Marina del Rey. This is a very ritzy area. Very expensive homes and yachts here in the Marina del Rey, Playa del Rey area. But just tremor activity here. Nothing but tremors. This is the first time I've seen harmonic tremors here at Playa del Rey or anywhere here in LA. Okay? All right. Let's go over to Rinaldi, north of LA here as well. Nothing but tremors here. Nothing but tremors here in Rinaldi at all. All right. From Rinaldi, we go out east to Walnut La Puente. Walnut La Puente is a volcano. This is a volcano over in eastern Los Angeles. The earthquakes you're seeing here are generated by magma down beneath the surface here. Magma generated down beneath the surface. Each area here is an earthquake. Up at the top on the top red line here, the top red line here, you see a bunch of earthquakes happening. Okay? Earthquakes that have happened. This seismic energy started at approximately 5:04 this morning, not 5:04, 5:19 a.m. this morning, and it continued until approximately 5:23 this morning on the red line. Up at the top in the middle of that, on the black line, that is a 3.3, 3.4 earthquake this morning. 3.3, 3.4 earthquake this morning. Walnut La Puente this morning. They felt these earthquakes. Anybody living in this area feels these earthquakes. Unreal. Over on this black line here on the right-hand side, that is 6:12, 6:13 p.m. last night. Earthquake activity. At least 3.0 small earthquake activity. The top and the bottom of this sequence was cut off. It continues over on the left-hand side on the red line. We have like 3.5, 4 minutes of seismic activity. That is substantial. How would you like to be in a house or a business or even out on the street when this seismic energy struck? Feeling the earth bounce up and down here. Feeling the earth move. Outside, you may not have felt it as much as if it would have been inside. Okay? But you're feeling this. This is volcanic activity beneath the surface. This is volcanic activity. Magma fracturing the rock inside the volcano here in Walnut La Puente, California. This happens every day like this. This is normal. This is completely normal here in Walnut La Puente. Any questions here? Charlene is asking, magma LA is exhibiting seismic activity of wowzers. 3.4 earthquakes easily. As I said, these seismic sequences you see here, the bottoms and the tops of these sequences have been cut off because they don't want us to be able to show the exact magnitude of the earthquake. These could be as high as a 4.0 moderate earthquake. These could be as high as a 4.0 moderate earthquake. And this happens every day. Every day. Hi, Laura Marie. Thank you for being here. God bless you. Now, when I said, how would you like to be in one of these homes or out here on the street in Los Angeles to feel this? Dom Toka says, no way. No thanks, Ron. Been there, done that. Charlene asks here in the chat, do geoscientists know which area will rise and which area will sink based on rock type in the strata? Yes. Yes, they do know. Already in the San Fernando Valley, because they pumped oil out from underneath the homes there, the ground there is going down. It's subsiding. The ground in the San Fernando area is subsiding because they pulled oil and gas out from the rock beneath it. And that area is subsiding. Slabs of concrete and homes there are sinking. They're sinking. The slabs are cracking, walls are cracking all over that area. And there's nothing they can do about it. Nothing they can do about it. Charlene, that was a great question. Thanks for that. Does anyone have any questions about Walnut La Puente here? There's at least 20 earthquakes here. At least 20 earthquakes, maybe more here. Arlo thinks here, says, did you see the article that said the Sierra Mountains, Northern California are sinking due to the crumbling Earth's crust below them? Yes, I did see that. I did see that. Yes, Earth beneath us is crumbling. It's subsiding. Why? Why? Let me bring up the our webcam. Why is there subsiding? Move this aside just a little bit. Up in that area, guys, the Pacific plate is subducting underneath the North American plate. It's subducting. Subducting raises the Earth like this, causing the mountains, called mountain building. In some cases, sometimes as the Pacific plate continues on a deep dive underneath the North American continent, it takes some of the Earth down with it. It takes some of the Earth down with it, including the mountains. That's one of the reasons we have subsidence in the northern Sierra Mountains. Okay? The Pacific plate is taking a deep dive underneath the North American plate, just like this. It's taking some of the mountain making material down with it. Okay, that's what's going on. Charlene, that was a great question. Charlene's asking, thumpers unimaginable. How would we survive sinking into hell? I don't know. I've never thought about that. I've never thought about that. Lee's asking, Arlo, did you read that North America is breaking off underneath and falling into the mantle? Some parts of it is. Some parts of the North American continent are going down into the mantle, including that Pacific plate. It's taking a deep dive underneath the North American plate, just like this. Richard Smith says an unconfirmed report, Southern Alaska 6 minutes ago. Interesting. That's interesting. Let me take a look at something here. Yes, we have an earthquake in southern Alaska. It's in Willow, Alaska, 4.7 Willow, Alaska. 4.7 Willow, Alaska. Let's bring down these seismographs here, and I can show you that earthquake. Right up here in southern Alaska, Willow, Alaska. Willow, Alaska is where one of our former Alaska governors lives here. She lives in Willow, Alaska. This is a 4.7 earthquake here. A moderate 4.7 earthquake here. This is 34 kilometers deep. 34 kilometers deep. Also, Renee Seppi is advising of a severe thunderstorm warning near Lubbock, Texas. A severe thunderstorm warning near Lubbock, Texas, or Lubbock, Texas. If you guys are anywhere near Lubbock, Texas, you need to be seriously looking for a possibility of tornadoes. You're going to have severe thunderstorms and severe rain. You're going to have severe thunderstorms and severe rain there. You need to take cover. Flash flood warnings issued for Southeast Lafayette Parish, St. Martin Parish in Louisiana until 10:15 p.m. Central Daylight Time, which is another 3 hours away. Between 1 and 2 inches of rain have already fallen. That's really bad. Severe flooding there near Lafayette Parish, Northwest San Martin Parish as well, Louisiana. Lubbock, Texas, severe thunderstorm warning until 8:30 p.m., which is about an hour from now. Radar indicated golf ball size hail, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. You may see a tornado near Lubbock, Texas tonight. It's forecast. It's forecast. Good catch, Renee. Thank you for that. Any more questions? These are great questions, guys. I appreciate it. Honest Stream is asking, what is the status of Italy? Is it safe to travel to Rome? Now, I'm not going to tell you whether it's necessarily safe or not. That's a personal question that you need to ascertain yourself. Would I go to Rome right now? Possibly. Possibly. Would I like to go to Rome? Possibly. Lee says he found information stating due to sea level rise, good amount of North America will be underwater in 25 years. It's not necessarily sea level rise. It's not necessarily sea level rise. What's actually happening? What's actually happening? The Earth is moving. The Earth is moving. The plate is moving down. It's subsiding in places. It's subsiding in places. We're going to have major earthquakes. We're going to have major earthquakes. Okay? It's going to happen. Promise. Promise. Rob52 says, Ryan Hall, y'all weatherman should be up soon. Probably. I really like Ryan Hall. He's good people. He's good people. Let's go back to the seismographs here. Again, this is Walnut La Puente here. Walnut La Puente, east of Los Angeles. East LA, not east of, but in East LA. You need to understand what's happening. The ground is moving. Charlene says, do we understand the rate of ice sheet melt due to volcanic activity at the Earth's poles and how will it affect earthquakes at the equator? Given water weight, plasma sun activity increase in earthquakes. Yes, that's happening. But it's not just the oceans that are rising. There may be micro radians of water movement, but it's not much. The land is going to subside. The land is going to subside. There's also going to be major earthquakes that are going to open up land. There will be major earthquakes that open up land. Lee says, strange, everything is happening simultaneously. Guys, this is nothing. This is literally nothing. Just give you some more time here. Give us some more time. Give you some more time. Things are going to get so much worse. So much worse. Now I'm looking for a map here that I want to show you, that is going to show you a lot of Earth movement in the coming years. Okay? It's going to show you a lot of Earth movement in the coming years. Now specifically, I'm talking about the North American continent. Okay? We talked about this before. I haven't shown this map to you in a long time. I'll show you this map now. There it is right here. Okay? Look at this, guys. And I kid you not. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. We are going to see earthquakes that will come down and bury the landmass. What's going to happen down here in the Gulf of California, where we have the Baja California? Down here, the land mass is going to sink. It has nothing to do with the ocean waters rising up. The land is going to sink. This land here on the western part of the United States is going to subside. It's going to subside. Look, it appears right here that parts of Denver, even Denver, Colorado itself, will become a new seaport. Denver, Colorado will be a new seaport. Most of Utah will be underwater again. This already happened a lot of years ago. A lot of years ago, Utah used to be what they called Lake Bonneville, completely covered by water. Now all we have are two lakes in Utah. One is the Utah Lake, and the other is the Great Salt Lake, part of Lake Bonneville from years and years ago. But here it shows Utah nearly completely covered by water. Parts of southern Idaho, southwestern Idaho will also be covered by water. Wyoming as well. Going up into Nevada, underwater. There will be small parts of the Sierra Nevada mountains that will become islands in itself. Going up into Oregon, it shows most of Oregon underwater here. Only northeastern Oregon and parts of central and eastern Washington will survive what's going to happen. Okay? Idaho will be Idaho here. Montana will be Montana. North and South Dakota. Nebraska, you see a waterway coming in from Colorado into central Nebraska here. You'll see Texas here, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, even parts of Texas being underwater, just east, or just west of the Pneumatic Fault. Going up the Pneumatic Fault, you see nothing but water. The Mississippi River opens up here into the Gulf of America and all the way up into the Great Lakes. Okay? This is what is forecast. This is not me. This is what is forecast to happen. They call this a Navy map or the doomsday map of the world. Again, we're going to see major earthquakes for this to happen. That is the only way this could happen. Major earthquake. A lot of major earthquakes. Lee says Virginia is where he lives, and we've not had any bad weather or anything there. You guys have had bad weather in Virginia. We've had some heavy rains in Virginia before, and you guys had severe flooding in Virginia. Probably not where you live, though. I'm not saying it's where you live, but I've read articles and internet information that showed you heavy rain about 2 weeks ago and a lot of flooding. Okay? Joe Shimpa is asking me, did Edgar Casey predict something like this? I believe he did. I believe he did. Do I believe it's going to happen? Probably. But again, it's going to take major earthquakes for this to happen. This will not happen overnight. This will not happen overnight. It's going to be a long time. I don't believe this will happen even 20 years from now. Yes, we possibly will have some major earthquakes that are going to start this in the next 25 years. But this is going to take an awful long time. Richard Smith says Nova Scotia is almost gone. Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like here. Any more questions about this? This is wild. This is wild. It's been a long time since we've shown this map. It's been a very long time since we've shown this map to you. Now, let's go back to Southern California. Again, this is over at a volcano on the eastern side of Los Angeles near Walnut La Puente, California. There's a lot more than this. A lot more than this. Now, I want to go over into San Diego County. There's not much to show you in San Diego County at all because nothing's going on. Very little is going on. That fault zone that I told you about that runs from Encinitas, or actually runs from the Newport Inglewood area in Los Angeles down the coastline into San Diego County, called the, oh gosh, what did I say it was called? It was the, oh shoot, I can't even remember what it's called. Anyway, it comes off the Newport Inglewood Fault over in the harbor and goes all the way down the coast into San Diego County. It enters San Diego County about Encinitas, California area. Encinitas, California area. At that point, it goes inside the inland corridor all the way down into San Diego City and goes out in the harbor area, the Rose Canyon Fault. The Rose Canyon Fault. Goes all the way through San Diego into San Diego City, out into the harbor of San Diego. The Rose Canyon Fault. It's capable of an 8.5 earthquake. An 8.5 earthquake. Folks, this is San Diego, Michigan Control at San Diego Gas and Electric in San Diego City. You notice nothing happened but some tiny tremors and microquakes. Last week we showed earthquakes here at San Diego Gas and Electric headquarters in San Diego City. Last week we had earthquakes and nothing but tremors here and microquakes. That's it here in San Diego City. Now there is some activity out east. This is Cuyamaca High School at the top of the Cuyamaca Mountains, the Chocolate Mountains in East San Diego County. Look at this. Nothing but tremors here. Nothing but tremors here. And that's usually all it is here at Cuyamaca High School. Northeast, or actually not northeast, but East San Diego County. Okay? Let's go out down south to southeast San Diego County to Campo Elementary School. This is just north of the San Diego Mexican border. Here we're seeing tremors and we're seeing some minor earthquakes here. I believe we've seen some 2.0, 2.3 minor earthquakes here, as well as other tremors here at Campo Elementary School here in southeast San Diego County. This is mostly Hispanic area. This is mostly Hispanic area here. Rob 52 says not Elsinore fault. No, this isn't the Elsinore fault here. This is way down south near the U.S.-Mexican border here. Lee is saying Zealandia is underwater. The small portion that remains above water is New Zealand. You're right. You're right. Okay, that's San Diego County. Now let's go over into the Imperial County, California. I want to start with North Shore Salton Sea. This is over on the northeast shore of Salton Sea. Okay, all we have here are tremors and one good-sized tremor here that happened after 10:46 this morning. 10:46 this morning, I believe we had a 1.6 tremor here. That's the biggest tremor here that we can have here. Okay, North Shore Salton Sea. Now, a few weeks ago when we had earthquakes down south in the southern part of the Imperial Valley, we actually had some small minor earthquakes up here. But this is typically what we see here at North Shore Salton Sea on the northeast side of the Salton Sea. Okay, let's continue. I want to go down to the east side of the Salton Sea at Bombay Beach. Bombay Beach. This is Bombay Beach seismic. This happens every day. These kinds of earthquakes happen here every day. Now let me bring up the USGS map again so I can show you what's going on. Okay. This area here is Bombay Beach. This area right here is Bombay Beach. This is what we're talking about. Okay. This is on the east side of the Salton Sea, and this is where the San Andreas Fault goes underneath the water here at the Salton Sea, Bombay Beach. Okay. South of there here, where you see this swarm of earthquakes, that's Calipatria. We'll address Calipatria in a few minutes. Okay. Down on the southwestern side here is Westmoreland. This is Westmoreland right here. Okay. I told you before, out here is the town of Imperial. I'm going to show you earthquakes in here in Imperial. Further south here is El Centro here, where one of our family members, his name is Juanito, and his family live here in El Centro here. I'm going to show you a whole bunch of earthquakes here. Whole bunch of earthquakes here in El Centro. Then further east over here in Holtville, California, right here. So now I showed you where we're going. Let's go back up here to Bombay Beach. That's Bombay Beach, guys. Look at these earthquakes. These earthquakes are at least 3.0 earthquakes. 3.0 and larger, small earthquakes. Small earthquakes. Now, some of this may be 3.5 earthquakes here. 3.5 medium-sized earthquakes. Look at the top here. Look at the top left. Off the chart here. Literally off the chart. This is after 5 a.m. here. This possibly was also before that. It possibly happened also before that. I don't have the seismogram here to show you before that. It doesn't exist. Okay? But here we have at least a 3.0, 3.5 earthquake at 5 a.m. this morning. At least. Any people that are camping here in motorhomes or tents here felt this earthquake activity here at Bombay Beach. This is a resort area, basically. Nobody lives actually in Bombay Beach. They have a coffee shop. I believe people drive from North Shore, Salton Sea, or elsewhere to come up and set the coffee shop at Bombay Beach. Okay, that's what's here. I talked about that last week, or no, the week before last. Bombay Beach, California. Let's go south now to Calipatria. You're kidding me. What happened to Calipatria here? Hold on a second, guys. Hold on a second. I'll bring up Calipatria here again in a second. Just give me a second, guys. I thought I already had this here, and it might have gone to some of their file here, but I believe we've got it here now. Yes, we do. This is that area of Calipatria I just showed you just a few minutes ago. This is the activity here. This is the activity here. It's a big deal. Here we're going to show you tremors, and we're going to show you full-blown earthquakes here in Calipatria. Look at the top of it here. The very top here is, let me look here just a second. The very top here is about 5:30 yesterday evening. Okay? Here we're showing possibly a 1.7 tremor here at the very top. Down here on the far right side here, okay, this would be 6:59 p.m. last night. That's a 2.3 earthquake. 2.3 earthquake. Then we come down here where you see the red mark here with a little bit of an earthquake here. This is after 8 or 6, 2000 hours over here on the left-hand side. This is at approximately 8:18 p.m. last night. 2.4, 2.5 earthquake here. Down here in the center right here, this after 9 p.m., about 9:25 p.m. last night, another 2.1 earthquake here. Then what do we have here going on? Over on the right-hand side, We have an earthquake that happened here at 1:14 this morning. 1:14 this morning. Start off with tremors, and then it build up to 2.0 earthquake. Again, the red lines here are generated by the computer to tell the seismologist, hey, look at this. There's been an event you need to take a look at. Okay? This seismic activity lasts only about a minute from beginning to end. Beginning with just tiny tremors, over at the end here at 1:15, all that was here is tiny tremors again at 1:15. Now, after 2 o'clock this morning, you see this earthquake that looks like a rectangle. The top of this was cut off and the bottom was cut off. This was a much larger earthquake. By just looking at it just like this appears to be a 2.5, 2.6, maybe 2.7 earthquake. But they cut the top and the bottom off. They don't want us to know the size of this earthquake. This is probably at least a 3.0, 3.5 earthquake here. It's been this way before. We've had 3.0, 3.5 small earthquakes here in Calipatria before. It's happening all the time. It's happening all the time. They just don't want us to see this here. And out to the right, you see other seismic activity out here to the right of that? That is a secondary wave. The secondary wave in this case lasts 1, 2, 3 minutes long, 4 minutes long, 5 minutes long. That means this earthquake here was a 4.0 earthquake. A 4.0 earthquake. When we have seismic energy in a secondary wave lasting 4 to 5 minutes long, it's a 4.0 earthquake. That's a moderate earthquake here in the Calipatria area. 4.0 moderate earthquake here. Out to the right, after 3:14 a.m. this morning, we have another 2.4, 2.5 earthquake. Red lines again are computer generated. Look at all these earthquakes here. This is Calipatria. Over on the left-hand side where it says 422, that's where today begins at midnight. Look at all the earthquakes here. Typically, we see between 50 to 75 earthquakes all day long during a 24-hour period here at Calipatria. Look at all these earthquakes. Again, some of these earthquakes are 2.5, 2.7, maybe even 2.8 earthquakes, minor earthquakes. But this rectangular earthquake is probably a 4.0 moderate earthquake. Total here at Calipatria, we used to get 100 to 150 earthquakes every day. 100 to 150 earthquakes here every day. But they started making those earthquakes disappear. They edited the earthquakes out. Typically, what we're seeing now is after 6 p.m. here at the top on the left-hand side, they take the seismic energy out here. They edit it. We see a lot of other earthquakes here. I believe they've edited it. Now, after 2100 hours, 9 p.m. on the left-hand side. It says 21. That's 9 p.m. After 9 p.m., between 9 p.m. and 2 a.m., they turn down the seismograph. They turn down the seismograph. Why do I say that? There's hardly nothing here, or hardly anything here for those hours. 4 to 5 hours, they turn the seismograph way down. Then all of a sudden, we have this earthquake here, and it registers at least at 2.5, 2.7. And we have the secondary wave. The secondary wave tells a story. This was a much larger earthquake. Again, they cut off the top and the bottom of it. This was at least a 4.0 moderate earthquake. Calipatria, California. I've seen them do this many times. I've seen them do this many times. There's probably at least 50 to 60 earthquakes here today. 50 to 60 earthquakes on this seismogram today. Now let's go over to Westmoreland, California. Good old Westmoreland, California. I love Westmoreland. It offered me a lot of chances to hike around the area when I was there, and I loved the area. I really loved Westmoreland, California. It was a cool area. Here we have some earthquakes here, mostly tremors, but we have one good sized earthquake here today. This earthquake happened after 2 a.m. What do we have at Calipatria? What do we see at Calipatria? The seismogram here recorded that same quake, but this time it didn't record the same full magnitude. Didn't record the full magnitude of that quake. That's what's here. I think this is the remnants of that 4.0 in Calipatria. That's what's happening here in Westmoreland. Now, yes, there is some seismic energy here, but mostly it's microquakes. Yes, we've had large earthquakes here. We've had minor and small 3.0 plus earthquakes here in Westmoreland before. Let's go down to the town of Imperial, California. Look at this. I'm sorry, this is El Centro. We'll come back to El Centro in a minute. This is the town of Imperial here. Look what's here. Look what's here, guys. Starts off with tremors. It builds up to minor 2.0 earthquakes. Then what happens here after 11 a.m.? At about 11:10, we have some minor tremors. Minor tremors. Builds up to 1.5 tremors, 1.7, 1.8, 2.0 earthquakes. 1:14 this morning, 2.0 earthquakes. Then 11 a.m. 11 a.m. here. Look, or 11:15, I'm sorry, on the red line. 11:15 on the red line here. All of a sudden it's 2.5, 2.8, 2.9. This seismic sequence started at it started at 11:10 this morning. So we have 4 minutes there. It came over here and lasted until 4 minutes later, so it lasted 8 minutes total. 8 minutes total. It got up to about 2.9 earthquake. 2.9 earthquake here. Then another 2 minutes later, starts up again. Again, we have tremors here. 11:21 a.m. this morning. 11:21 a.m. it starts off with tremors, builds up to 2.0 earthquake, 2.3, 2.4 earthquake here. This seismic increase, or in this seismic sequence, lasts another 3 minutes. Then we have the secondary wave after that. That secondary wave lasts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes. 9 minutes secondary wave, which means I believe that this earthquake here, each one of these earthquakes here, was probably close to a 3.0 earthquake. 3.0 earthquake here. Because the secondary wave of that first earthquake lasts another 2 minutes. So we may have seen at least a 3.0 earthquake, at least at both of these seismic sequences. This is the Imperial town of Imperial here. Over on the right side after 1 p.m. 1 p.m. on left, this is 1:13 p.m. this afternoon. Starts off with tremors at 1:13, 1:14 we have a 2.0 earthquake. And then we have some other minor tremors after that. Town of Imperial is buzzing. Town of Imperial here is buzzing. Let's look at El Centro now. Again, yes, Juanito, one of our family members, Juanito, lives in El Centro here. Look at this. There are 25 3.0 earthquakes here. 32. I wrote it down. 32 3.0 earthquakes here. 32 3.0 earthquakes here in El Centro. These 3.0 earthquakes started about 8 or 9 months ago, and it's continued since. Before that, the largest earthquakes here were maybe 2.2, 2.3. Those were the largest, and they were only minor earthquakes. Now we're having 3.0, 3.2 small earthquakes here every day, many times a day. And yes, that's what they're doing here. They're felt here. They're felt here. Demon Catman says, waved Juanito, yes. Hello, Juanito. Good to see you, my friend. Juanito's a good man. Usually he is here on Tuesday nights. Usually he's here on Tuesday nights. He must be working or something. Maybe his family, his kids. That is the town of Imperial. I'm sorry, El Centro. El Centro. One more here. One more. Let's drop over here to the Salton Sea Desert Research Station over here in Holtville. Look at this. Look at this. Tremor City. We also have some 2.0, 2.4 earthquakes here as well. Down here at the bottom right. Okay. Bottom right here at 3:44 this afternoon Pacific time. 3:44 here this Pacific time. 2.5, 2.6 earthquake. After 4 o'clock. 4:07 p.m. this afternoon, we had another 2.0 earthquake. Holtville, guys. Holtville. This whole area is getting nailed. The whole area of Imperial Valley is getting nailed. Yes, over in the Salton Sea, the southern part of the Salton Sea, we have the Salton Butte volcano. The Salton Butte volcano. Okay, let me take down these images here and let's bring up the USGS map one more time here. Again, you see this swarm of earthquakes. This is nothing compared to what the seismogram shows us. The seismogram is showing us the truth. The seismogram is showing us the truth. There's a lot more earthquakes here in the Calipatria and Nyland area than they're showing us here. We drop down here to Westmoreland and we go up here into the Salton Sea. This is where the Salton Butte volcano is. Right here we have a 1.2 tremor here. This is a 1.3 tremor here. And right here, this is a 1.0 tremor here. The Salton Butte volcano here. The Salton Butte volcano. Further over here to the west here is a 1.4 tremor here. The Salton Butte volcano over here. Right there. That's why we're having earthquakes here. Now further down here in the Imperial Valley here, they say this is 7 kilometers west-southwest of Holtville. 7 kilometers south-southwest of Holtville. Holtville is right here, up here. So yes, this is probably 7 kilometers, maybe 3.5 miles southwest of Holtville. 1.5 tremor here. 1.5 tremor here. Any questions? Literally earthquakes everywhere. Earthquakes everywhere. Now I did see an earthquake here over towards the East Coast I want to show you. Yes, there's an earthquake over here on the East Coast. Right here. Ohio. Okay? I promised you guys I would show you this earthquake in Ohio. This is a 3.1 small earthquake here. Now guys, this is over in the foothills of the Western Continental Divide. This is the Eastern Continental Divide here. This is in the foothills of the Continental Divide on the west side. This is the foothills here. Pleasant City, Ohio. Pleasant City, Ohio here. They say this is 2 kilometers east-southeast of there. Guess what? It's in Pleasant City, Ohio. It is in Pleasant City, Ohio right there. There's no way in heck this is outside Pleasant City. This is a rural community out here. This is a rural community out here. Canadian Patriot 1 is back. Welcome, Dave. We appreciate you here. He says, sorry I haven't been here much due to medical and Canadian politics. I can appreciate that. Canadian Patriot has some similar problems that I have here as well. God bless you, Dave. We appreciate you very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Charlene is asking, is the Continental Divide pushing the west side under? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Let me back out here. Let me show you what's going on. The Mid-Atlantic plate here. The Mid-Atlantic plate is expanding. That expansion is pushing Europe and Africa in an easterly direction. It's also pushing Greenland, Canada, and the United States in the southwesterly direction. That's putting pressure here on the East Coast, putting pressure here on the Continental Divide, and putting pressure here on the west side as well. That may have been what happened here. That may have been what caused this earthquake here. I'll have to do some more checking to make sure I know what I'm talking about, but I'm sure that's what it is. I'm sure that's what it is. Renee, how does the weather look? Do you have any more updates for us with what's going on? Do we have any more updates with what's going on? Over here in the southern Cascadia subduction zone over here at the Triple Junction. This is a 3.0 small earthquake off the coast of Petrolia, California in the southern Cascadia subduction zone. A 3.0 earthquake down here in the southern area of the Cascadia subduction zone. Notice they're not showing any other earthquakes here in Oregon. What's going on? Why they're not showing it? Why? I might as well know. This drain Oregon here, this is a 1.7 tremor here. Northern Oregon. We go north here. They say this is an explosion over in Northern Oregon, Philomath, Oregon here. What's happening here? I don't believe this is an explosion either. 7 kilometers north-northwest of Philomath, Oregon. I can see where it's possibly north-northwest of Philomath, Oregon, but this is not an explosion. This is not an explosion unless they're taking out trees again. This is in a forested area and around it are farm fields. I don't believe this was an explosion at all. This is a 1.6 tremor here. 1.6 tremor. Again, this is what USGS does. They just label it what they want to label it. They just label the earthquakes what they want to label it. This is over in Prescott, Oregon here. This is a 1.6 tremor. Going over here to Mount St. Helens. The southwest side of Mount St. Helens, this is a 0.2 microquake. And I know for a fact it's not the only microquake, and it's also not the only tremor or various earthquakes that have happened here. We showed these seismograms here to Mount St. Helens last night. There are earthquakes and tremors and microquakes happening at each of these volcanoes. For USGS to show one event or two events, they're full of crap. They're full of crap. Going up here to Mount Rainier. Mount Rainier here at the summit. They're showing a 0.2 microquake here. Why? There are a ton of them. There's dozens of microquakes, tremors, and earthquakes here at Mount Rainier. Again, this is another lie to us to make us think that nothing's going on. Over here in the southern Puget Sound area, Shelton, Washington. Again, they're labeling this an explosion. Go figure. It's not an explosion, it's a 1.3 tremor here. There are no quarries here. Yes, this is a quarry, so this may be a quarry explosion here. This may be a quarry blast here, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, USGS, I picked on you. Usually, I know what's going on, and they're full of crap. That's over here in the southern area of the Puget Sound area. We go north here. This is Parkwood, Washington, 1.1 tremor here. The Cascadia Subduction Zone area. The Cascadia Subduction Zone area. This is Marble Mount, Washington here. This is a 2.1 minor earthquake. 2.1 minor earthquake here. Over here to the northeast here, Loomis, Washington, East Washington. This is a 1.7 tremor here. That's what's going on here. Anybody have any questions about anything we talked about tonight? Any questions? Renee says, severe thunderstorm warning for Woods, Oklahoma, 6 miles southwest of Etna, Oklahoma, until 8:30 p.m. Central Time, which is another 10 minutes from now. She's also talking about radar indicated half-inch in hail, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Unreal. Unreal. Charlene is talking about 11 states comprise the new Madrid seismic zone area. Ohio and Michigan will crack under the Great Lakes and floodlands to the south, then to the sea as the new gorge opens and separates America from east to west. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. But it's not going to happen anytime soon. Yes, I expect a major earthquake on the New Madrid Fault within the next 2 years. That's going to happen. That is going to happen. But I don't think we're going to have such a major earthquake as to divide that open ground into ocean from the Gulf of America. I don't think that's going to happen instantaneously anytime soon. Now, I want to leave a few words with you. Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the end of every program, as of the last couple of 3 years, I've been leaving you with a devotional. Is anything going to happen? Anything too hard for the Lord? No. Brethren and sisters, we need to pray about opening the doors of everyone, opening the doors to the gospel. Do we pray for the work to happen? Do we pray for the gospel to spread? For the leaders of nations to open their doors to missionaries from all religions, that we may have the open gates for our missionaries, and theirs to penetrate great populations. Do our children pray for this as well? Are we training our children to pray? And pray, having our children pray for the gospel to spread, for the 10 tribes to come forth from the 4 corners of the world. Let every man, woman, and child and youth take this seriously. Pray for the opening the doors of the gospel to all parts of the world. The scriptures teach us, now, brethren, shall we not go forward in such a great cause? Verily, verily, I say unto you, men shall be anxiously engaged in a good cause, and do many good things of their own free will, and bring to pass much righteousness. Let us see that we develop the gospel all over the world. It's our duty. It's our duty as Christian men and women to open our mouths. Open our mouths and tell our friends and neighbors about the truthfulness of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Open our mouths. And as we pray for the doors of the nations to be open, God will hear our voice. Is anything too hard for the Lord? Or is anything too hard for me? When Sarah laughed that she was told by the Lord that she would have a son, she heard this in the tent door and knew that both Abraham and Sarai were 100 years old. She was 90. They were past the age of reproduction. She could not bear children. She knew that as well as it has been known that we could not open doors to many nations. Brethren and sisters, Sarah did have a son from Abraham, the father of nations. Also to Jeremiah he said, Behold, I am the Lord, the God of all flesh. Is there anything too hard for me? Jeremiah 32:27. If he commands, certainly he can fulfill. We remember the exodus of the children of Israel crossing the uncrossable Red Sea. Remember Cyrus diverting a river and taking the impregnable city of Babylon. Remember Father Lehi getting to the promised land. We remember the Revolutionary War and the power of God that gave America triumph. I believe the Lord can do anything he sets his mind to. The Lord can do anything he sets his mind to do. He can change the earth. He can change where we are. Is anything too hard for the Lord? Not at all. I can believe that the Lord can do anything that he desires. If missionary work is indeed to go forward through all the world's nations, it's the Lord's work. Which is it? Are we helping the Lord, or is it the Lord's work going forth as he asks us to do? We need to go forth by his power. We need to go forth into the nations and into the countries and the neighborhoods and cities where we live. If we do, we will be accompanied by his power to open our mouths and help us spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. Why should we? Why should we? Because it is what the Lord has asked us to do. It is what the Lord has asked us to do. We can't fear, we can't hesitate in taking the gospel of Jesus Christ to others. It's my prayer that we would be paying attention to what the Lord would have us do. Pay attention to what the Lord would have us do and open our mouths. Open our mouths that our mouths be filled. I was told many years ago when I asked about this very same question. Open our mouths and our mouths will be filled. We need to read the scriptures. We need to read the scriptures. The scriptures will give us information from the Lord. And then when we go to open our mouths to our friends and neighbors, we will have our mouths filled with warnings from God. May God bless us and protect us. May God be with us this day and always. Renee Steffi says sources for warnings and advisories is the National Weather Service. Thank you, Renee, for that information. We appreciate it. I want to thank everybody that's been here, all of our friends and neighbors from all over the world that have been here with us tonight. I want to thank our mods as well. Thank you all for being here. We love each and every one of you. If you want to help us support this program, just below this program, just below this video today, in the top of the program description, you're going to see our email address so you can send us information or send us critiques or compliments about what we're doing. Just below that, in the top of the program description, you're also going to find 2 PayPal locations and a Venmo location where you can send us donations to that. We'd appreciate that as well. Thank you for your contributions, guys. We definitely appreciate it. I want to thank Aubrey again. Aubrey was here in the chat earlier tonight. She sent us a donation in the mail. Our address here is in the top of the program description as well. 504 Bethel Road, Box 401, Morganton, Morganton, North Carolina. The zip code here is 28655. Thank you for everything you do for us. We love you very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your questions. And thank you all for helping us put this program together. You also helped share information, which was greatly appreciated. We love you very much. Thank you for everything you do. God be with you this day and always. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Good night, everybody. Much love. Take care.